Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles, and we have a very good one for you today. This is the, I was going to say new map, Oyster Bay. I mean, it's not exactly new, it's been around about a year, but it's the newest random battle map available in the game. It's set on a tropical island, and it does take advantage of the free warship models that Wargaming have access to from World of Warships. I believe there's a Japanese Anago class heavy cruiser lurking around in the bay, getting attacked by aircraft and doing naval gunfire support, but none of that's important. What is important is that this is Zeloxy, or possibly just Xylo. I believe he's Greek actually. So this is an EU server replay, and he's in the Tier 10 UDES 1516 Tier 10 Swedish medium tank, armed with a very, very nice 120mm gun with reasonable accuracy, reasonable aiming time, pretty good penetration, assuming you're not loading the gold, but it's Tier 10, so of course we're loading the gold, and a reasonably quick reload as well. It's generally an all-round very good gun. The tank itself isn't bad at all either, although it does come with a couple of downsides, mostly to do with the armour. As you can see, the armour from the front is ridiculously well sloped, both on the hull and the turret, but it's not particularly thick. And oh, by the way, yes, replay bug, he hasn't been spotted. Sixth Sense is just active from the start of the battle, and you'll know as soon as he gets spotted, it'll actually go off, and it's not going to take long. But yeah, the armour, and this does seem to be a Swedish thing, because it's the same on the S-Tank, just worse, in that they don't really put a huge amount of armour on these things, they just kind of rely on the armour sloping. And there's nothing wrong with armour sloping. It's it's a good way of increasing your effective armour without increasing the actual armour and therefore the weight and therefore reducing your mobility. And it's great until somebody shoots at you with a gun that's a large enough caliber. Oh, and he did actually get spotted there. Sixth Sense has now gone off. But until somebody shoots at you with a gun that has a large enough caliber to overmatch the armour and ignore the sloping angle, in which case you're in the shit. But it's not quite that bad on the UDES 1516, because while it does not have particularly thick armour, it's like the turret of the FV 4005 over there, which can be penetrated by a Tier 1 from any angle. But while the armour on the UDES is bad, I mean with the exception of the turret's fine. But the hull armour, a lot like the hull armour on the other Swedish Tier 10, the S-Tank, and there's one, perfect example, 120mm gun doesn't care about your armour sloping when your armour is thin enough. And it is thin enough on the S-Tank, but it's not quite thin enough on the UDES 1516, which means that this thing can only really be fully overmatched, by which I mean the incoming shot is sufficiently high caliber that it just doesn't even take into account the armour sloping calculation. It punches right through it as if it was flat. But that can only happen to this thing if you're being shot at by something like an FV 4005 with a 183mm gun. And even an FV 4005 can't overmatch the turret armour. But the hull armour, or at least a fairly large section of it, can be partially overmatched by anybody with a 122mm gun or higher. And there are a lot of those guns around at Tier 10. Now, partial overmatch isn't the terrible news that a full overmatch is, but it does mean that all of that extreme sloping, S-Tank really isn't learning his lesson, is he? But partial overmatch does mean that the incoming shell, it doesn't take into account the full value of the sloping. It gets an angle reduction for the purposes of the penetration calculation. The turret, however, is rock solid. Again, it's not particularly thick, but it's a lot thicker than the hull armour, and it's still ridiculously well sloped, which means there isn't a gun in the game that can completely overmatch it, and there also isn't a gun in the game that can even partially overmatch it. And it does come with hydro-pneumatic suspension, which means that despite the low profile, it does get surprisingly good gun depression. And that, in combination with a rock-solid turret, does mean that this tank is very, very good at working ridgelines, which is exactly what Xylo was doing until the Kranwagen over there decided he wanted to push up into what looks like at least 4, possibly 5 enemies. Which is surprising because they are heavily outnumbered over here, and the Kranwagen is arguably even better at working ridgelines than the UDES 1516, but the Kranwagen decided push up we shall, and like a good teammate, Xylo is going to support him, although probably against his better judgment. because these are both very, very good defensive tanks, and they were in very, very good defensive positions. Now they're not. Now, I'm not saying the Kranwagen made a bad decision here, because, I mean, sometimes when you're 2 kills and 4,000 hit points behind, you just have to throw caution to the wind and start taking some chances. What on earth is he doing down there, though? You know, there's an E4 right... Maybe he's reloading. I don't know. Kranwagen's still yelling for help. I mean, he's just spamming the help button. Dude, you've got all of the help that you're going to get over here. There is nobody else, with the exception of the S-Tank, who is also moving. Xylo finally getting some penetrating hits on the T110 E4's Commander's Cupola. One more should do it. And he's got him. That was his second kill, by the way. He also finished off the enemy S-Tank earlier. Not sure where the rest of the enemy... There was a Batchat and an M60. I don't know where the hell they've gone. But taking a quick look at the map, sounds like somebody just took a shot at the Kranwagen over there. Things are not looking too good on the other side either. I mean, they weren't looking very good over here until Xylo and the Kranwagen decided to take the fight to the enemy, which did turn out to be the right decision. Elsewhere, however, things are not going nearly so well. Enemy team, despite Xylo pulling back the kill on the E4, are once again 2 kills ahead. And they still have that 4,000 hit point advantage. Xylo's going to attempt to take advantage. I mean, it's surprising how little of a ridge you actually need to be able to take advantage of the capabilities of this tank. And he can do it from here, providing he has things to shoot at. I suspect he's elected to fight from this position and did get spotted there for a number of reasons. One, he's potentially got flanking shots on enemies from here, like the Object 277. Yes, good stuff. And also, there's still an M60 and a Batchat, and potentially a VZ55 lurking around down to the south. And if any of those things decided to try their luck, well, let's just say that one thing that this tank does not deal with particularly well is surprise butt sex. The armour, such as it is only good from the front. Because in World of Tanks, well, especially in this thing, in fact in life in general, especially when it comes to things like surprise butt sex, it is always better to give than to receive. He's got no targets to shoot at here though. The enemy are now 3 kills ahead, although the hit point difference is dropped down to about 1,500, at least as far as we can tell. We'll know for sure once further enemy tanks start getting spotted. Or respotted, because the hit point totals displayed at the top of the screen only update once you've actually respotted these enemy tanks. Looks like the mouse is falling back, and you can tell as he keeps giving nervous glances to the right that he is kind of worried about the Batchat and the M60. Particularly since both the Kranwagen and the S-Tank have now relocated up to the north, which means that Xylo here is now a Trump supporter, which means he's on the extreme right wing. Going to be in trouble for that one in the comments. He's gotten respotted by the mouse, but he took that one on the turret, no problem. This does of course mean that anybody flanking around here now knows exactly where he is. And the M60 has now been respotted, although still no sign of the Batchat, which is very worrying. Gets a good shot there on the Grilla 15, and the Batchat has now been respotted. He is coming around on the right hand side. I'm not sure whether or not Xylo has noticed yet. Probably slightly preoccupied by the fact that the team are now 5 kills behind. Goes for a shot at the turret front of the mouse, waited until it was pointing straight towards him to reduce the angling, didn't work. And he's now realised the trouble that he's in with the M60, and I'm pretty sure that Batchat is also attempting to work his way around. The Batchat's gone undetected again, which means he's trying to be sneaky. The M60 is right up there. It turns out that the M60, however, is the least of Xylo's problems, because suddenly a surprise VZ55 pops up. He takes the shot on the, well, I presume turret or whole front, doesn't matter, didn't go in, takes out the VZ55. There's the M60. And both the M60 and the Batchat are going to go for him at the same time. He does get the first shot off of the Batchat, starts backing up, here comes the M60, goes for the old death from above, and it kind of works and kind of doesn't. Batchat has the worst armour, goes for him first, and oh, the M60 appears to have fallen and can't get up. If not for that, he absolutely would not have survived this, because the Batchat is taking no chances. He only needs one more shot to kill him, and the Batchat, yeah, he's got him. And now he can afford to take his time with the M60. I wasn't actually counting the Batchat shot there. I don't know if he had run out of ammo and was attempting to disengage, but he didn't get away with it, whatever it was. And now the M60 is about to reap the consequences of his severe miscalculation there. In fact, he smacked him so hard he actually flipped him upright. There's only 2 of them left now, though, against 3 enemies, although a minute ago it was 2 of them against 5, so, you know, it could be worse. And, oh crap, here comes the mouse. Alright, it's worse. 64 hit points against a 2,000 plus hit point mouse. Oh dear. Seriously? How do you fuck that up? Xylo's actually running kind of low on ammo here, but he should have enough to kill. Whoa, whoa, what happened there? How did he? Whoa, I didn't. Okay, right, yeah, now it's on. Definitely has the maneuverability advantage, however, and, well, this close, the mouse is struggling to actually hit the hull. But this could go south very, very quickly. And he keeps getting low damage rolls. This gun's supposed to do 440 average damage. I don't think he's done more than 400 in his last 3 shots. The mouse doesn't need to do more than 400 though. 48 will do. He's firing the gold still, of course. I mean, he's obviously having problems hitting anything other than the turret, but if he would just, you know, load the high explosive, this fight would have been over already. Oh, and it's not. Oh, what can I say? Gold noob's gonna fire gold. And that, the 6th kill for the Top Gun in what turned out to be a highly unlikely battle, is victory for Xylo here in the UDES 1516. With 1500 base XP, 9000 damage done, 1370 damage blocked by armor. Let's face it, it was all in his turret. And it only cost him 17,403 credits for the privilege. Congratulations on the win, Xylo. Very amusing, thank you. And I hope you all enjoyed watching it, because that's it for today. As always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.